G'day legends, I hope you're all amazing. On today's video, we're going to be checking out a pedal that I've read a lot about and I finally have the chance to try hands-on. It is the Jam Pedals LLAMA out of Greece. And there's a lot of good stuff coming out of Greece at the moment. I've featured several manufacturers on this channel before. There must be something in the water over there because people are coming out with high quality product at great price points. The LLAMA, as you can see, has three main knobs on here. You've got delay time, level, and feedback, like so many classic little BBD style delays, but you have tap tempo with not one, but three different subdivision choices over here, which might not seem like much in this kind of era of super delay pedals, whether they be digital or analog, or, you know, analog but digitally controlled. So cramming all of that into this tiny little box and having a 600 millisecond maximum time, which is kind of like double a lot of classic analog delays, and just kind of no fuss operation, should be a whole lot of fun. I'm pretty keen to just make a bunch of noise with this. So let's start off with a little Floydy style jam, because when I think of analog style delay, I kind of think of David Gilmour. We'll put a bit of grease on there. Then I will run you through the very basic operation of this pedal and the point that you can start with a very simple control set and get a whole bunch of different tones out of it. We'll also just kind of explore, I guess, the character that this particular delay pedal has, because with three knobs, I think it is really easy to not get lost, which is really important and kind of what they're going for. Then I'll give you a bunch of different examples and a few more jams. Let's go. Quick run through of how the pedal works, and essentially I would use this in two different ways. One would be ignoring the tap tempo foot switch and just using it like an old school analog delay, twisting the knobs, getting a kind of slapback style sound or a longer sound, and just have it as a set and forget option. The really cool thing about this pedal is that there is tap tempo with subdivisions, and this is something that I wish existed when I was first getting into guitar pedals, because I loved the way analog delays sound, like the old Boss DM2, but they didn't have tap tempos. So to me, it was kind of like, well, I can use it for one thing, which is on my lead sound when I'm playing live. If I want a rhythmic delay, then I have to like twist the knob between every song, which is not something I really wanted to do. With this, you've got the option of having a quarter note, eighth note, and dotted eighth note subdivision on there. So let's just start off. You can see where the level, the time, and the number of repeats are set. Basically, I've just set it up for one single repeat, level in the middle, and I've got the time down low for like a slapback style thing. Strat into the LLAMA, into my Synergy T-DLX. The rest of the signal chain will either be on the screen or in the video description. So you can hear with the number of repeats on there, or the feedback, as I'm going to call it, going forward, you start to get that self-oscillation or verge of self-oscillation really, really quickly. But there's actually quite a lot of usable range between that almost about to go crazy and properly go crazy zone in there. And of course, you can twist that time amount on there and get some wild self-oscillation effects on there. What is cool about this as well, with the repeats down quite low, is that even with the overall level below noon, you can kind of use this as almost like a faux reverb or something like that. With the number of repeats between like 9 o'clock and 12 o'clock, you can almost get like a kind of springy reverb sound out of it. I'll let you hear that. The maximum delay time on here is about 600 milliseconds from memory. So if you like the kind of more ambient thing, it's not going to do the super long delays, but for an analog delay, it's quite a long delay. I think the original like Boss DM2 is only 300 milliseconds. So you can crank up the repeats on here, you can crank up the level, and you can get some really nice stuff if you're doing like volume swells, say on the neck pickup. Having tap tempo with that gorgeous warm analog tone is pretty awesome as well, because I've got it on the just quarter note setting. So if I just want to tap in the delay time, I can do that like sound on sound thing with it. I've got the Wolfie out for this because I've got the Synergy 800 module and I'm running the LLAMA in front of the gain, which I almost never do. I mainly want it for that one sound, that Van Halen one thing where you basically keep the repeats all the way off, you keep the level quite low, and because of all the filtering happening on this delay, when you put it in front of some drive, it kind of rolls off quite naturally and just kind of melts away without being like overtly in your face or too rhythmic. So, for this kind of thing. thing about that is, like, if I'm playing it slightly faster or slightly slower, I can just leave it on that dotted eighth note subdivision and have it in time. So like the live version, if I had to play that, would definitely be faster. So I could just tap it in like that. Now, because I almost never do this, I'm going to give you two different examples with running the LLAMA in front of some crunch. I'll play the verse section of a ragdoll song called Rewind Your Mind. Then I'll contrast it with having the LLAMA after the gain stage on there. And what I'm going to do there is double track it when I'm doing it after and have one side set to a dotted eighth note subdivision and the other set to a quarter note. Then I'm going to throw on this kind of Zeppelin Tea Party style jam with my telly that has the GB bender on it and just crank up the delay on there and make a whole bunch of noise. It's going to be pretty fun. I've done a lot of videos with different delays on my channel over the years now, whether they are the delays in my Axe effects, old rack delays, or vintage or modern delay pedals of various levels of complexity. But, this thing has kind of reminded me that you don't need a lot of hands-on controls and you don't have to tweak a lot to get a really enjoyable musical delay sound. The thing that I like about the LLAMA is, yes, it gives you control with tap tempo in the subdivisions. It's got an extended delay time in there, so it's kind of taking something classic and improving upon it for modern players. But at the end of the day, it's really easy to dial in. And if you want slapback, it takes you about 5 seconds to get a good slapback. If you want a rhythmic delay, again, it takes you about 5 seconds to get a really great sounding rhythmic delay. If you want a lead delay, you can get that out of it as well. And you can make all those crazy oscillation effects with kind of minimal fuss. So I like this a lot. I'm probably going to put it on a board that I'm building at the moment, and I'll tell you a little bit more about, to just kind of run in front of my analog rig. The Synergy or the Boogie or the Soldano, which I've got back, and just doing it old school like the 70s, where people would put a few pedals in front of a really great amp and not worry about the fact that, oh, my delay is not post-gain. I got plenty of other ways to do that. And, I'm not going to suddenly put all my delays before distortion in my main rig. I still really, really like that. But this just kind of reminded me of some of the simple pleasures in life. I'd love to know your thoughts on the LLAMA. Let me know in the comments. And if you've got one of these and there's particular settings that you love, I'd also love to hear that. Big thank you to Jam for sending this particular pedal out to me. I've got a bunch of their other pedals to check out as well. So let me know what else you'd like to hear. If you like what I do on the channel, check the video description. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.